To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Our Father in heaven, we are grateful for the day that you've given us. Grateful for the new year that you've also given us. And I pray, Lord, that as we meet and take care of the business of the city, that you help us to make wise decisions. May all the things that are done and said bring you honor and glory, for we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right. I'm going to ask our clerk, Ms. Pye, to do roll call.
Town of Vidalia Board of Aldermen roll call for the regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen. Alderman Betts.
Present.
Alderwoman Denby.
Here.
Alderman Gardner.
Present.
Alderman Probst.
Here.
Alderman Smith.
Here.
Mayor, let the record show that a quorum of the board is present and counted.
Okay. All right. First thing we have is approval of our minutes. If there's not any questions, I'll take a motion to approve.
I so move.
Motion made by Alderwoman Denby. To hear a second. Second by Alderman Gardner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next thing we have was public comments on our current agenda items. Anybody have any questions? Any public comments on our agenda? Okay. If not, we're going to move on. Have our first item on our agenda is presentation of financial statements for November 2022. Ms. Deborah Moak, our CPA and municipal accountant.
Tonight's financial statements include the balance sheet as of November 30th, 2022, the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances for the 5 months ending November 30th, 2022, a summary budget to actual comparison by fund, and a detailed budget to actual comparison by department. These financial statements have been distributed to all departments and aldermen for their review. In summary, the town has combined cash in the bank of $25 million, included restricted funds of $24 million in the hydro fund and $1.9 million in the sales tax fund. Investments of $5.3 million, which includes the hydro reserve fund of $2.4 million, $1.5 million in the general fund, and $1.4 million of ARPA funds. Total assets are $54 million. Total liabilities are $10.9 million, for a fund balance of $43.1 million. The statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund balance for the 5 months ending 11/30/2022 indicates combined revenues of $16.3 million, total expenditures of $17 million, for a net change in position of a negative $688,000. Overall, total revenues are at 32% of budget, expenses are at 34% of budget, transfers in and out are at 57% of budget, and the net change in position was at a negative 42% of budget. Revenues are lower than expected due to lower hydro royalties caused by low levels in the Mississippi River. Expenses are lower than budget due to the vehicle lease payments and capital outlay purchases are outstanding at the end of November. Hydro rebates approved by the town council in September in the amount of $2.8 million are included in these financials, which is the reason for the negative change in net position. The town has received its second payment of the American Rescue Plan in October. This brings the total amount collected to $1.4 million. The auditors have completed their audit, and it was submitted by the due date to the Louisiana Legislative Auditor. There were no findings in the financial section of their audit. Silas Simmons will present their report in a later meeting when it gets approved. As of today, the long-term debt owed by the town has been paid in full. We have paid off the transmission line debt, but will continue to use the bond to cover future expenses to complete the construction. The fire truck and the complex debt has all been paid. We have also moved $6 million of the hydro royalty fund to the Louisiana Asset Management Plan and $1.5 million from the general fund to LAMP. The interest-bearing earnings in 1 month was over 4%, which is higher than we had been receiving at the bank. That includes one.
And one of the good things, thank you, Deborah, for that report. Any questions of Deborah? In that rate changes daily, so as the rates go up with the LAMP investment, it also it calculates at that higher rate, which is really a good investment tool for the town. Great place to park our excess money, so I'd like to thank her for that. And one thing she did say in there is there's no financial findings, if nobody heard that, on our audit from Silas Simmons that went to legislative auditor. Of course, they've got to approve it and go through it, but preliminary thing looks really good. So I want to commend her for her work and all the office staff for the work that they do, being good stewards of the town's monies and all of the things that we have that we're responsible for. So thank you very much. All right, before I go forward, I want Ms. Cassandra Lynch, she wanted to tell us about Mardi Gras coming up. I kind of want to jump just because she wanted to, I was supposed to put her on the agenda, but I just wanted to let her, did she want to say something about the Mardi Gras parade or?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. It's Mardi Gras season, and you know what we do in Vidalia. We have one great parade thanks to all of our community. And it takes this community to make it happen. So I'm asking everybody to consider participating. The dance groups, the motorcycles, the horses, side-by-sides, and floats, anything that's respectful and decent. It represents our town, and we would like to make this year one of our best years, showing a lot of unity and a lot of fun. And we're gonna try to have a little something extra. That's called lanyard for this year. If we can pull it together, it's gonna be very, very nice. So, that's all I wanted to say, my mayor.
All right, thank you.
The parade is,
Go ahead.
February 18th at 3 o'clock. And we start on time. And we just want everybody to consider participating. You know, it doesn't take much. You don't have to be all fancy and cute. Just think about being positive and having fun and participating, please. So we're asking all crews, anybody who wants to be in there. There's no restrictions unless you do something very bad. Thank y'all very much and have a blessed evening.
Thank you, Cassandra. Appreciate that. Okay, number 2 on our agenda is board discussion, vote on approval of occupational license applications. First one is SNR. M-E, I can't say that. Can somebody pronounce that? Beta? No? Beta? Okay. LLC, Rushida C. Bott. That's 605 Carter Street, convenience store. I think that's a change of ownership. Is that correct?
It is.
Okay, change of ownership. Any questions? That's the one we used to be the old Wagasack, if anybody's wanting to figure that out. Here, motion we accept.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Alderman Smith. Or a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Betts. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, next we have is the vote on the liquor and beer permit for the same. Any questions? Do I hear a motion we accept the liquor and beer permit for them?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Alderman Gardner. Here, second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Smith. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, board discussion vote on Vidalia Police Department personnel. William Gable as a patrolman full-time. Joey's here with us. Any questions of Joey? Okay, if there's no questions, do I hear a motion we accept William Gable?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion made by Alderman Betts. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Probst. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Number 6, we have Mr. Doug Wimberly with Neil Schaefer. He's going to talk to us about our water plant and the expansion on it. That he's been working hard on for, what, 2 years now?
Yep. Been trying to pull it all together for y'all, so they're going to get it pulled up here on the screen where we can kind of look at it. But, yeah, so I'm Doug Wimberly. I'm with Neil Schaefer. I was formerly with Jordan Kaiser and Sessions, and we did the first water plant originally and then did a rebuild of it in about year 2000. And now we're coming and basically doubling the capacity of the plant. And I'm going to kind of step away from the podium. I think I talked about enough. I don't know how many of y'all can see that screen, but just kind of walk you through what we're doing here. This is basically a bird's eye view of the plant, looking at it from the sky. And so here's the existing plant building right here, the existing filter system. You've got an existing clarifier right here. What we're doing is coming in building a new clarifier right here, a new set of filters, a new ion exchange system, relocating your chlorine cylinders. We'll get that basically brand new plant up and running, and we'll shut the old half of it down tear that clarifier out, install a new clarifier, rebuild these filter internals, and then that part will be ready to crank up as well. We're replacing all the major electrical switch gear. All of that is original to the plant's construction, so it's 70 years old. So it's lived its life. So we'll be replacing that with all new switch gear, putting in a new generator that's going to be dedicated just to the water plant. Right now, the water plant shares a generator with the fire department right there. They'll have their own generator that's just dedicated to the water plant. And then the other part of the project that the mayor and the people at the water plant were very interested in was upgrading the security around the water plant. Right now, it's just kind of an open door that anybody can drive out there and go to. We'll be building a new parking lot in front of the building, putting a fence around that with a lockable, a little keypad, personnel gate here, a sliding gate here, so that when trucks pull in, they'll all have it just like you've got a garage door opener, a key that they can push, that sliding gate will open and they can pull in and do whatever they need to. And then we're also separating the water plant from the utility department. Right now, the people just kind of pass back and forth, but we'll be building a fence between those two as well. As the mayor says, over the course of a couple of years, we've been working on this, and I think our original estimate was 8.2 or 8.5. We did a new estimate in August for y'all to submit for some grant applications with Bryant Hammett. That one was at 9.7 because of all the cost increases associated with COVID. We changed the slide now, and I believe all of you have this in front of you as well. This is our new number right here. We're just a little bit under 9 million. We went down about 700,000 after this is the first detailed estimate that we just finished the detailed plans where we counted every valve, every piece of pipe, every cubic yard of concrete, basically broke it down in a way that a contractor would bid on it. So that's the number that we think we're looking at right now. Our best guess at a construction period, if we were to bid it out today, get under contract, we're thinking we're looking at 12 to 18 months to build the thing. But a lot of that's going to hinge on some of these supply issues that all these big equipment vendors are having. And this is all a very big equipment project. I mean, those clarifiers those are pieces of equipment. The filter internals are pieces of equipment. The ion exchangers, those are pieces of equipment. So it just depends on how quick they can get those things made and delivered. Any questions? I know I went over that real fast. It's a lot of confusing stuff there. So
you answered one of mine already about the time of completion, but my second one is, what is the capacity of water that we hold now, and what will be the amount that we'll be going to?
So if we could go back to that original, right now, your daily flow right now is about 750, 800 gallons a minute. Both of these clarifiers are 1,000 gallons a minute capacity each. So we're a little bit over doubling your capacity. This will give you extra capacity if you've got some industries looking at you that need, that extra water volume. You'll be able to treat it and take care of it. As well as, although they didn't have a problem this freeze, but what happened, a year ago back where you actually ran out of water. That won't happen.
And another thing, Doug, that a lot of thought went into that. The original plan we had talked about, having just one big plant instead of two. Well, this right here gives you some redundancy. If one goes down, you still are making water and Cornell's done a wonderful job working with you and doing a great job, in the water department, keeping us going. And I stayed in touch with, even though he was on vacation, I bugged him to death during the freeze, and I don't think we had very many issues. I think we had a few discolorations of water, which was maybe from just, some people running some lines just to keep them open. But other than that, everything went really good. Doug, you want to go ahead and tell them, I guess let's talk about the funding part of it, how, we've talked earlier and visited earlier about the funding. Right now the town has $9 million in state capital outlay. We met with the Hammett Group and some of their engineers this week, and I was wanting to maybe get with Bryant and also with some others and talk to also facility planning down in Baton Rouge and seeing about going ahead and pushing that and get that put in priority one cash where we can go ahead and get this thing done and built, and then we use our other monies for broadband and things of that nature. We have a lot of projects in the bailiwick, but this, we might as well, since it's just get it paid for and not cost our citizens anything extra.
Yeah, and this will put you in good shape for another 70 years.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's what we want to do. We want to build, set the table for the future for our kids, our grandkids, and generations to come. So I think this would certainly do it. So, any questions? Anybody else have any questions of Doug as far as the water plant? I guess, Doug, go ahead and give them a timeline now where we go from here. Say today, what's going to happen tomorrow? So you've produced us with the.
Yeah, I met with Cornell and his team earlier today. This is about the third meeting we've had with them just to go over we went over them with a conceptual level, went over with them at kind of a preliminary design level. This was the final design, so we walked them through that. They just had a couple of things that we're going to go back and add. We're going to add some flow meters here so they know exactly how much water they have going through each half of the plant, and add that. And then if we, like we talked about earlier, if we get information back from the city that, oh, okay, it looks like we're kind of close to bidding it, we'll go ahead and send it to the Department of Health and Hospitals. They have to review it and approve it before you could bid it and award it. So, but, as I was explaining to the mayor and Jay earlier, that I believe that approval is only good for a year. So we don't want to send it to them too early and then sit on it and then have to resubmit it, and standards have changed and all that kind of stuff. So
one question on our water. We've already got great water. Is this going to even make it a lot better? Or
it is going to be.
You think we got good water? I mean,
it is going to be fantastic water. Cornell and I were talking about that earlier, because basically what you're going to be taking, it's a little hard to see. My hand's not very steady, but your clarifier right now is only like 25 feet in diameter. You see, these are much bigger, and then we've got two of them. So we're basically taking let's say your flow is 750 gallons a minute now. It's going into one small clarifier. We're splitting that between two large ones. And that's where you get your solids removal. That's where you're removing. Your problems here are iron. That's what we do. That's what we remove in the clarifiers and in the filters, and then water hardness, and that's what we remove at the ion exchangers. And so basically we're, as long as your flow is kind of where it is today, we're going to be having or cutting in half the load on all this equipment. But you'll have this huge excess capacity. If somebody showed up and said, hey, I need, an extra 500 gallons a minute, you'll be able to get it to them.
Yeah, that was another reason when this came up and we wanted to expand our water, Tommy, that I wanted to find who did that plant, because that's been producing for years good water that we grew up on.
I mean, we got good water forever.
So they basically.
I take my water with me when I leave here. I take my water. I do.
Yeah. So it'll be even clearer and better, and so like I said, be leaving you in good shape for the next 50 to 70 years.
Okay. Any other questions? Anybody from the public? Cornell, you want to make any comments or say anything?
Well, I just want to, thank the board for the time and the effort, in spending the money on, this project, and even with what we got right now, because I'm telling you, that money was well spent, a few days ago, because, we still have water.
Yeah. And what he's talking about, they put some valves in place that in case we started losing pressure, we could turn it off and save our pressure.
That's right.
And it would temporarily, cut people off. But once you built back up that pressure, which wouldn't take that long, you could return the water. Before, it was all under sheets of ice and couldn't find it. So,
A free-for-all.
yeah, it was. Well, Doug, thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
We
It's
appreciate
been a pleasure working with y'all as usual, and we'll get you on to these next steps and get you across the finish line to get it under contract.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, the next thing on our agenda is the update on status of approved town projects. I'm going to just go through some of the things that we are working on. That was one of them, and it's good timing with Doug coming in. Port met today. The seepage analysis has been done, and now what they're working on is moving forward with all the approvals from the Corps to do the slope stability and peer review. And once we get that done, we can go ahead and move forward with the slack water portion of the port. They can go ahead and do all the metaphysical on it and geology on it, with even if water comes up now with what they have. So that's going to be good news that they can go ahead and move forward with that. So hopefully, pretty quick, we will be moving forward with that project. We have a lot of money in port priority funds and also with the state with that as well. So that's going to be in the makings. I have Loran Scott here with us. She is going to talk a little bit. We're working with sidewalks. We had a sidewalk audit. Y'all remember Anna came with, she's the county agent's office, and was talking about some grant monies available to connect neighborhoods to areas within the town. And one of the first ones they're looking at is the high school to Vidalia Market. So, Lorraine, if you want to tell them a little bit about that, and then and this is very, very good information she got on that.
Good evening, everyone. It is called the Complete Streets Initiative, and it is an endeavor that is allocating funds through the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development. So we had the walk audit on November the 30th, and it was a very successful walk audit. Jessica that works for LSU Ag and Justin from the Chaffalay Basin gave us great feedback on the areas and how to proceed in securing this funding. We had Mayor Kraft was there, our town clerk, Diana, thank you, she was there. Police department was on point, and we'd like to thank you all for that. Plus a lot of citizens and the coaches from the high school, teachers from the lower elementary. And this funding is typically geared towards the citizens having access, mobility, and safety. And so we covered all those spots. I've given you all this little green packet. I'm not going to read to you for you to peruse at your own leisure. If anyone else would like to see it, you can. But we've done the walk audit. Also, we've taken pictures of students walking from the high school to the neighborhood. And as long as it is connecting to something that's necessary, they walk from school across the street to the Family Dollar, then they walk home in their neighborhoods and to the grocery store. But there are no sidewalks. I have pictures of roadkill and the traffic coming, that are speeding along that area. So with the help of those, the people who came during the walk audit, with their guidance, working with Anna, with LSU Ag, we're pretty confident that we'll be able to secure this funding. Now, the major thing is once we've been approved, it is a 5% match from the city. So if it is a $2 million project, it's only going to cost the city $100,000. Plus, they cover everything, the engineering, the construction. We have a meeting tomorrow with Hammond & Associates. We'll be meeting with Wynn to do a final cost estimate, but that's just to make sure that when we do finish the grant process, that we are close to the amount of money we need to get this project done. And it will be done in phases. Phase 1 will be the area near the high school, because it does have the greatest it's the most dangerous area without sidewalks. Then the neighborhood by Vidalia, lower and upper, where we have residents there that ride in motorized wheelchairs. Those sidewalks will be ADA compliant, where they'll put the ramps where they'll be able to get on the sidewalks and they won't have to ride in the streets. Phase 3 will be getting crosswalks and everything for the students here to cross the highway into that neighborhood, and then a bridge across Carter Street so that all residents from either side will be able to access all the businesses or whatever they need to do safely. In your packet, I also included the policy from the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, and some pictures that you can look at so you can see the direction that we're going in. The second major project that we're working on is DA Big Lane Road. It's in your packet as well. And as I said, whoever wants to see this is all public information. Of course, you know DA Big Lane Road is the road that connects the Sour Plant to the National Guard Armory and the airport. Well, I have before and after pictures that I've included in your packet. It is part of the Vidalia Industrial Park. When we met with Sheila Wallace, who is the planning district's manager for Delta Regional Authority, we went out and rode and looked at the road, and you know, you can clearly see by the photographs that it is an economic deterrent for the residents who live there. And so there is funding available after considerable research for both these projects. There is funding available for, you know, to have this road fixed. It's competitive, but with any competitive funds, the partner has to be able to match the funds. So Mayor Craft and I have been working together along with Hannah Junkin and others to, and so we would be able to do that. I also worked with some of the residents on the road, including Dr. Gregg, sent out a survey so that they could give their opinions, answer some questions about the conditions of the road, so that we could submit that with our application as well. And the data analysis has already been done on that as well, if you want to look in your packet, with comments about having to purchase new vehicles or the front-end alignments and the accidents that have happened, because there's no signage, no surface markings, no shoulders. So it really is a hazard. But those are the two major projects that we're working on. We actually have everything pulled together. We're just waiting for them to open up the portal so we can hit send, so we can be, you know, in front of the queue when they start reading and looking at the applications.
I want to say thank you, Lorraine, because she pulled a lot of this together, a lot of this information, put together questionnaires and sent out to all the residents out there, done a lot of work, doing a great job. She got, you know, she's working with Hannah Junkin, our marketing director, and they're doing a good job of putting this stuff together and putting these grants together, putting together good packages. Matter of fact, this goes to Heather Urena, who was the director for DRA in this area, and she looked at it, and she's going like, you know, y'all are way ahead of the game, but they're going to look over it. I don't want to call anything a slam dunk, but hopefully we could finally address the DA Big Lane. It's a $2.8 million project to resurface that road and do it right. And we wanted to make sure we could find other funding to help with that, and I think we finally are hitting on it, and hopefully we will have news on that sooner than later. So,
okay.
But thank you so much, Lorraine, and the work you've done on that.
Okay, and I'd like to say, Mayor Kraft, while I have the opportunity, thank you to the department heads, everyone that works for the town for cooperating with me. We have a fairly fully functioning HR department. It runs efficiently, and so I would like to thank everyone. It's been great working with you all to make sure that everything works for not only the employer, but the employees as well.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. That's a good report. I want to recognize, I saw Ms. Hugh Cheryl Walker, our new city judge, is here. Hugh Cheryl. I'm sorry I missed your inauguration. I was out of town. But I want to also say something, y'all. One of the things Hugh Cheryl has been working at and been very active at for several years, you might not know it, but she has been the residing over court for our blighted properties, and y'all have seen a lot of blighted properties disappear all over the town, and working with Pyara and Jay, and she's done an amazing job. Of course, the only sad thing is we got to check and see if we can still continue that, and she's been We've been talking, and she wants to do it right and get excited to get to work and reinstitute the blighted program. So we're hoping to work from there. Is there anything you'd like to say, Hugh Cheryl?
Yes. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for the warm welcome shown. I appreciate it. I appreciate your support throughout this journey. It is an honor and privilege to serve the great citizens of Vidalia as well as my community. I look forward to serving as your next city court judge. I promise to uphold the law and render justice in a fair, equitable, and just way while maintaining the integrity of the court and the judicial system. I just ask for your continued support along this journey in an effort to make city court a success.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on with our, on our electrical, the update on our electrical substation. As you know, we paid off the balance we have on it. The only thing we have left is to do the transmission line and connecting up the other transformer that's out there at the industrial park. We're right now, it's in some litigation on one of the last pieces of property. We need to have a right-of-way to put the transmission line, and that's about all I can say about that. Is there any questions anybody have on the substation? Okay, that's going to give us a total of, we had 30 megawatts availability before we built the substation, and now that added another 50, so that really set the table. That was very important that we got that done when we did, because we wouldn't be talking about SIRE if we didn't have that power to give them right now. So Lord's blessed us as our years went through this path on that, so everything's good there. Polk Park, that's not an approved deal. It came in pretty high. We're going to talk about that, do it in phases. I've met with some of the aldermen this week and just preparing them with some of the things we want to talk about. And I was going to put that on here tonight to go ahead and discuss these things, but I figure let's make a special meeting with it and invite a lot of the public to come in and have a part of the things we've already discussed on the hydro royalties monies. So that's one of the things I know we'll spend some money on. One of the others is the ditch between Viking and Eleanor. I think that's a common request from a lot of the aldermen. That's something that we certainly want to tackle and get seen to. So that's some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about, but we'll have a special meeting and talk about the royalty monies that everybody, and a lot of people had a lot of great ideas, and we'll go over them again, and the council can pick which ones they want to do and don't do. One of the other things we've got going is we've been applying through different applications as a sewage improvement through the BRIC fund, also the applications to FEMA. We're still working on that. We met with them. We should know, they said, probably by the end of this month or next, if we're going to get some of that where we have difficulty on processing our sewage water because the overflow from the river water during seepage times overruns our sewage department. We can't process. We got to either pump into the canal, or it really overtaxes our sewage treatment plant. So this would double that as well, Doug, is the project that we got. And we should take care of the seepage water years where people don't have the slow sewage in their homes. Raising the water wells, that was something Cornell, if he wants to talk to, one of the things we were wrote up for is even though they're protected, we were still written up because they weren't above that 100 floodplain on the Mississippi River. We have 3 water wells over on the Mississippi River, and we're going to have to raise those. But we are making applications trying to get water sector money to raise those, and those are right now, I think they're waiting to be approved or not. I think is where we're at on those, I think. But you want to say anything about those, Cornell? Because I think the approximate cost on each one of those is about what, 65 to 100,000.
I think approximately 1.2 million.
For all 3?
For all 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes, guesstimate at I educated guess right now, with the contractor that, actually does those types, that type of job over there. So, but, yeah, with the, that, was, a deficiency, that we got rolled up in, the sanitary survey that we had this, past year. And, and as long as we, actually show, progress, going towards, resolving that issue or whatever else, give us a little time, so.
And if we don't, didn't we have a time frame to get it done? What, was it a year?
Well, it's right now, at this point, we've got about a year and a half to, to really, get something going before.
Just address it, have something working, not necessarily completed.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, well, we'll keep pressing on that for sure.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Because the thing is, back in 2011, which we already had one, well without a service. If we had that same scenario right now, once that water level gets to that wellhead or whatever, we got to shut the system down. That means, once that river water hits that wellhead, that means you're risking the chance of contaminating the water system. We have to shut it down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a very important thing, that needs to be done.
And just so everybody knows, the one of the wells has got all the rock and pesco baskets around. Everybody said how ugly it is and all that sort of thing. With a river coming up, it was costing us $30,000 to $40,000 a year to put that up every year, then another to take it down and put it. I said, no, we're going to leave it. We're going to save that money till we get this fixed. So we've basically saved enough money by leaving those pesco baskets and those rock there enough to fund this if we have to. So anyway, thank you, Cornell, for that.
So you say there is money available possibly to help?
Well, we've got applications with different, through Hammett and them, to different water sector and also different other funds. We reaching out everywhere we can to get money for it.
What's the thought? We think we'll have money to get help on it? What's their thought on it?
I'll be honest with you, we had a meeting this week and we've had some that we didn't get funded on that we were like, scratching our head over because they were, you told us we were good, we were golden. Like on one of those was one of those brick applications for the sewer. And they didn't get it, but they've resubmitted, and now they told, we hit all the points and markers of everything you should to get it. But then, the state of Louisiana got very little of that money. It went other places. So, I think our federal government's throwing a lot of monies around saying they're available, but getting them's another thing. And that's just one of the things that just takes time, too. We've been working on this for at least, a year, 2 years. Okay. Talk about you see, they're working on our drainage on DA Big Lane. That's part of our current drainage projects that's going on. Y'all saw where they did some digging over by the courthouse. They also have dug over behind the high school field. And I think we've alleviated the flooding on Lillian Street. We hope so. We're going to keep a close eye on that. So opening up those ditches and cleaning up some ditches, we feel like is just about alleviated that Lillian Street. This last rain, 3-inch rain we had, I don't think we had any flood. Did we have any flooding, Lee? No. Around that area? And I don't think we've had much on Concordia either. They still have more work to do on Concordia with some culverts and all over there. But just so a heads up, they're fixing, you see the culverts over by Viking Street, between Viking and Eleanor. They're going to completely change out those culverts in there and make them larger, right in that area. So they're going to do that, and also at the end of Concordia Extension, they're going to add a culvert to that and redo all that area right there at the beginning of Concordia Extension at Concordia Avenue. So that's going to also be done. So all these things.
And explain what that little bump's still there for, because we talked about it the other day at the end of Concordia and Murray. Remember you said they were waiting.
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the
people are wanting to know.
Yeah, the people wanted to, they left it where they actually had to cross the road. All they've done is put material in there till it all settles in. So, it's pretty expensive for them to get a contractor to come out, an asphalt contractor. They're going to complete the culverts there at Viking Street and Eleanor, between Viking and Eleanor, and complete the one at Concordia Extension and Concordia Avenue. And then when they get them finished, they're going to have a asphalt company come in and fix them all three at the same time. And that makes sense because deployment and moving equipment's money, and that's just going to save us money and them too. So, but that's a good point on that. So, and that'll bring me. These projects are also going to help with the other project that's been in the works for a couple of years, is the slough project. There's been a lot of work done on that, a lot of work. Back when it was first put up, it was, Alderman Gardner requested $1.3 million out of our hydro funds to do that, which was is a good project. However, we had opportunity to pursue state funding, which we did. We saved our town nearly $1 million by going after it, which we did. It's taken some time, it has, but I don't know why we wouldn't do that when something that was just a no-brainer to do. So it's been approved. It took a while to go through Louisiana DOT. They had to go and get it approved by legislature. That took 6 months to 9 months, and we got our funding letter, and the final design and all the drawings on that are ongoing right now. So all of these things are going to tie in together to really improve a lot of our rainwater runoff and flooding that we have in town. So I think we just about got a good handle on everything. About third quarter of 2023 this year, we should see dirt work going, getting the Corps, communication with the Corps. Since it does deal with drainage, the Corps has to also approve some things. So there's a few little things they got to do with that on the final design, get approvals from the Corps, and you'll see that project go to work. On our other drainage, you'll see they've already completed the back behind Oak Street and the ball fields, replacing that storm drain. It was horrible. You should have seen the shape those culverts were in. They were completely dilapidated and caved in. And now they're going to go up behind Stampley and Oak all the way to Concordia Avenue and pull those up and replace that. We're going to request the ditch beside the old Pizza Hut going into Nichols Drive. We're going to try to get that filled in with a culvert all the way up to the state highway, just to dress that up, because right now it's an eyesore and open ditch, and to make it match the rest of that, it'll really clean that area up and really dress that particular area up. Now, street projects, the good thing is we've identified, here's the new streets that we're going to probably have on the next overlay project. All of Myrtle, all of Peach, except for the portion they did last time. Alabama Street from the Riverside Drive all the way to Oak Street, and the older portion of Elm Street, which is from Concordia Avenue toward this, I would call it the southwest on Elm Street, needs it as well. There's some side streets that are going to need overlay as well, but Lee and I have driven them around a good bit, and these streets are bad need of repair. They're pretty rough when you ride on them. They call it alligator because the road's all cracked up, looks like an alligator's back just about. But those are what we're going to ask for next to be engineered to resurface next. Does anybody have any questions or street they want to add to it? We'd be glad to add it to the list. And this, we've already got Dotson Street's going to be overlaid, and Front Lee is going to be as soon as weather permits. The company's that's already been bid out and done. So that's going to take me to our current projects. Has anybody got something else, a question, or on any of the something I didn't cover? Okay, I will be getting with all of the aldermen, and we will be talking about a date that we can come together and do have the fun spending money with the hydro royalty money. So, no other questions. I hear a motion to adjourn.
I'll make.
Motion made by Alderman Smith. I hear a second by Alderman Probst. All in favor say aye. Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank y'all.